I'm not going to swear. I'm not going to swear. We're not going to take the blame for demonetizing this one as well.
Oh, he beat me out of the other one.
I did beat you out in the first minute.
Yeah. Did you not watch it?
Well, I did, but I didn't notice the beep.
It's the first instance of beeping that I've ever seen on either of our channels.
Did he just use a traditional beep, or was it like a proper profanity buzzer?
It's just a beep.
So if I swear now, is it too soon to the beginning? So you're going to beat me out?
Don't make me do video editing, you. Okay, welcome. I haven't even introduced it, and he's swearing. Welcome to the next part of the tier list. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed the last part.
Edit that out.
No, I'm not going to forget. I'm going to write it down to edit you out of the first minute of the video. We today are looking at Jump Infantry and Phobos Marines.
And if you watched the previous video, then I passed contestations on John's video preparation capabilities, but I was wrong and he was right, and I apologise.
Here we go. Jump Infantry and Phobos, they are kind of the core of a Blood Angels list last edition. So I guess we'll dive into each one and we'll find out if they are the core of our Blood Angels this edition. I've got the list here.
Spoiler alert, they're not.
There's 19 in the list. This is the option. This is the order that they'll be coming up in. And we're going to start with Assault Intercessors with Jump Pack, or sometimes known as Jump Intercessors on the box, to just really confuse you, apparently.
I'm quite happy calling them Ass-Ints still. It works for me.
Ass-Ints. Okay.
Ass-Ints, yep.
So that's what we'll call them. Cool. Okay.
Right. The Ass-Ints. Jump Ass.
Okay, all right.
The
we can do that
asses.
too. Yeah.
So they're 85 points. They come in 5s or 10s. When they finish a charge move, you select one enemy unit with an engagement range, roll a d6 for each model from your unit that is within engagement range. On a 4-up, the enemy takes a mortal wound. You can have one special weapon, so like one power fist or one power weapon. And for a 5-man squad, I believe you can have 2 plasma pistols, and in the 10-man squad, you can have 3 plasma pistols. You can maybe have a hand flamer in there as well if you so desire. So they're basically a version of the Assault Squad from 9th edition, but with way less weapon options.
I think you Oh, no, the Sergeant can have a plasma pistol, so... For every 5 models, you can have a plasma pistol amongst the unit in general. It used to be you could always have 2 in the old Assault Squads, but they changed that for the Assault Intercessors.
Yes, so you can have 3 then if you have a 10-man squad, right? Because 2 of the 5 can swap out their plasmas. Yeah, so we lost the ability to take Meltagons as Blood Angels, and we lost the ability to take Eviscerators. So they're basically the same squad, but we've lost some of those things. They can now, of course, be attached to Dante, Captains, Chaplains, I believe, with jump packs. I really need you to get your Matrix up. Is there anything else they could attach to, Mark?
Bear with me a second. I do have it handy, just not right in front of me on the screen here. So, Assault Intercessors with jump packs can be adjoined to Captain with jump pack, Chaplain with jump pack, Dante, or Sanguinary Priest with jump pack.
Yeah, so you could make a blender unit here by attaching a Captain and a Priest. They're going to get expensive quickly when you start attaching those multiple characters. There could be an argument for running them just 85 points for 5, do some mortal wounds.
They have been nerfed slightly based off previous assault troops as well, in that the number of mortal wounds they do has been nerfed down from the rolling for the number of models in the unit to rolling for the number of models in the unit that are near the unit that they're smashing into. So it's a little bit less than it used to be.
And they are only OC1, if that's important as well. So they're not really troops.
Yeah, they're not troops. If that still matters as a designation these days, it kind of doesn't really. It's basically irrelevant.
My thought is, like, they're fine at 85 points. I don't think they're great. I don't think they're bad. I think if I had 85 points left, I wouldn't be against running a squad, but every time I have 85 points left, I usually find something better to spend my 85 points on. So I think...
Yeah, like an assassin or something.
Probably find their way into the B tier for me.
I'd agree with that. Pretty straight up. They're useful. They can deep strike. They're fast. They can move through ruins. They do a tiny bit of damage. They die relatively easy. They're pretty cheap. Yeah, they're good. They're not bad. Tony?
I really like them. Not to be like crazy contrary or anything else like that. I think being able to attach loads of stuff to them is probably worthless. But I think 85 points units that move really fast, can do actions or nick objectives that you won't expect them to be able to do, being able to deep strike them.
It's easy to hide 5-man units with rapid ingress.
They're easy to hide. You can
Yeah.
teleport them around with your Libby Dread, and then they can run off and do little things. I think they're a really useful action monkey squad. That's real competitor, which I'm not. Is it in this? Yeah, there's scouts.
Yeah.
That's what they're up against, and it's saying, are you going to pay a few more points to get something slightly tougher? Not lots tougher, but slightly tougher. That can move a lot faster after they've got there.
And arguably a bit more killy as well.
Well, yes and no. Scouts can obviously just redeploy, which makes them more mobile and less mobile at the same time. They're less mobile at moving into the board and more mobile at moving around the edges.
So I do quite like them, but I think their main competitor is scouts at the moment.
You're not going to take them for the punch.
You're not going to take them with the punch. The punch is nice, and that's the extra little thing they've got. If someone else is running, as people like to do, Voidsman and this sort of fluff, just to stick on objectives and things like that, these guys have got a decent chance of clearing it off.
Yeah. Of course they do, yeah.
For throwing chaff forwards 12 inches, just get an objective and tag it, it's also really good.
Yeah. So I think they're not bad, actually. I'm just looking at the other things. Other than Death Company, I think they're probably the best jump pack unit we have at the moment, because they've got some utility rather than just having to rely on killing things and then not being very good at it. So yeah, I think they're 85 points well spent. I don't know if I'd run any more than one unit.
I think some people might have been running 2 5s. I think that's probably okay. Yeah. But yeah, so do you think they're higher than a B?
I think they're an A. I think they're the bottom end of an A for me at the moment. I know it's crazy. I don't normally run for jump units and things, but for sheer utility, I think they're a very strong unit at the moment.
I mean, everybody was running assault squads before. They're basically the same thing with a little bit less. Like a little bit less. Like, I can't remember what a 5-man assault squad had, but I think a 5-man assault squad probably had 1 Viscerator, 1 Meltagun. So you've lost that. You've now got a couple of plasma pistols.
1 Eviscerator, 2 Meltagons, a plasma pistol on the sergeant, and a 5-up invuln on the sergeant from his
I think you're going to run 1 Meltagun in an assault squad.
No, you could always have 2 in an assault squad of 5.
In a 5, you could have 2 Meltas. Okay, so I feel like based on that, they're a B+ or an A-.
They're very useful. I wouldn't actively seek to include them in my list, I don't think, so I would err on the side of a B.
Yeah, see, I can't...
I think both of you guys are saying a B, so I think they go in B, but if they are in the top end of it.
I can see your argument and your point. They are very useful for what they're doing. They're not Reavers, but yeah, they're good. They're solid.
Okay, well, we can always revisit as we move on if we're unhappy. Number 2
Well, hold on a sec. Just very, very quickly. Sorry. If you ran a unit of 10 of these, and you put a priest with them, and you put a captain or a chaplain or something, does that start to get to the point where they can move 12 inches and put out a serious amount of attacks with bonus AP and +1 to wound or whatever else?
It does.
Is that power worth it?
It makes them very vulnerable to blast, and it's very difficult to hide 10 infantry with jump packs, I've found. That's my biggest problem with them. It's hard to hide, because basically the slowest guy, the guy at the back of the pile when you've got 12 models, with this 12-inch jump, he needs to be able to hide as well. And I think that's the difficulty with them, whereas that's very easy with like 5 guys plus a character. It's very difficult with 12, I find. So I'm not personally enjoying running squads of 10 jump infantry, but that's just
+1 to charge from Dante adds an extra 1 inch of threat range, but that doesn't really make a lot of difference.
You know, that would be good in Gladius. Advance and charge with +1 to charge. That would be pretty good in Gladius.
Yeah,
how many attacks have they got? 4 attacks or
4? There's hit on 2s with Dante.
Chainswords, yeah, 4 attacks, hitting on 3s, 4 -1, 1. With the priest, AP goes to 2. With the stratagem, AP goes to 3. Dante +1 to charge. Yeah.
I'd put a chaplain over. Can you put a chaplain in the priest? No, you
Yes.
can't, can you?
You can do the chaplain, but no priest.
Yeah, that's right.
The chaplain's good with them. The chaplain's good with everyone. He's one of the like MVP characters.
Oh yeah, sure. But at that point, you're choosing +1 to wound versus +1 AP, and you can put things in with the +1 AP, but you can't put anything else in with the +1 to wound.
Correct. Yeah.
So you're pumping more points in, but
yeah. Okay, so I think these guys. Let's leave them in B. They're playable. They're definitely playable. There's definitely some way to get the best out of it. Maybe we haven't covered it here, but I'm sure someone will figure it out. Okay, let's move on to the second unit from tonight. Then that is Astorath.
Is it?
Yeah, for some reason it's not organized. I'm just going to do it from my spreadsheet here, if that's okay.
Yeah.
It's alphabetical order, I believe, to a certain point, anyway.
Okay. Cool.
Astorath is only able to attach to Death Company with jump packs.
Yep.
He has Redeemer of the Lost when this model is leading a unit. Each time this model is destroyed, on a 4-up, do not remove the model from play. It can fight if you're killed in combat. And then once per battle, you can give, after a charge, you can give the squad he's with devastating wounds. Which kind of means he doesn't synergize very well with Death Company with Thunderhammers, but we kind of already know Death Company with Thunderhammers aren't that good. He has just 4 attacks now. He used to have like 8 or something. Strength is 6, AP is -3, 2 damage.
How many points are we talking? Have you got that handy on there?
I actually don't have Astorath, but I can bring it up. Well, give me 1 second.
No, that's okay. I got it. Oh no, I haven't, because I filtered it out of this stupid summary. Ah, crap.
I'll get it for you. Astorath. I'm guessing he's like. Take a guess.
85 points. Okay.
There you
go. All right.
So, 50% of the time the Death Company die in melee, he makes them fight on death. I guess is the way I feel about that. Once per game, he gives them devastating wounds.
If your Death Company aren't getting to fight, if you're not charging in with them and hitting, then you're playing your Death Company wrong.
Which is fair, yeah.
That's kind of a defensive or retaliatory power rather than an offensive power. Mass of Doom's nice, especially when you synergize it with Oath's Moment and you've got a huge volume of attacks. But I'll be honest, if I'm running Death Company, then I'm either running them with Lemartes or Chaplain. I've never thought about running them with Astorath.
I think the reason people used to run him with Astorath was his melee. Astorath used to be able to get that 4 damage melee, right? Because he used to have a 3 damage axe, and then he used to be able to get Litany of whatever it was called, the Litany of Faith. No, you know the one that gave extra damage. Mantra of Strength, I think it was, gave him extra strength and extra damage, which was really, really strong. His AP is nice. His AP is really nice. It's probably the best out of the whole Blood Angels Codex, actually. But he only has 4 attacks for some reason now, which just seems very weak. Because with 4 attacks on a 2-up, you're going to miss one of them. So realistically, you've only got 3 wound rolls. It's only strength 6. There's no pluses here. So your wounds are not going to be very effective at all.
AP3 is nice.
Yeah, I mean...
I think he's overcosted.
I don't see why you would take him over the regular Chaplain.
Yeah, because he doesn't give the benefits that a regular Chaplain does.
No,
and I'd rather have those than...
So, because of the Dev Wounds ability he's got, as you say, there's no point giving him to Thunderhammer, so you've got to give him to either a Power Fist or Chainsword unit of Death Company.
Yep.
Which is fine. And then they have Dev Wounds doing 2 damage on a 6 amongst all their attacks that they reroll to hit. And their rerolls to hits that they have would confer upon him as well.
Yeah, which would help, I'm sure. So if you think about this, right, like let's say you've got 5 Death Company, you make the charge, they all hit. Let's just say they all hit. If you were in Sons of Sanguinary's detachment, that's 20 hits. So how many 6s from 20 are you going to roll? 3? 4?
Yeah.
So once per game, you do 6 damage once per game, right? Whereas the Chaplain can do 3 mortal wounds every time he activates. He can activate 10 times during the game, because arguably you can fight in both people's turns. So,
and his +1 to wound is also permanently active.
Exactly. So, like, I just think he's a bit of an overcosted mess, really. Maybe if he'd had, like, 6 attacks, he might be getting play.
Costings relevant. I think even if he was 40 points, I would still not take him. I'd still prefer to take Chaplain or Lemartes because they make the Death Company better at doing what they're doing, which is killing things. This guy just doesn't.
Yeah, except once per game. And like you say, the Death Company have usually fought because they are a 12-inch unit, moving unit with a reroll to charge, so they've usually fought anyway. It's not often your Death Company get charged onto, so the 6-up fight on death is less relevant, I feel like.
Fight on death, but yeah.
Sorry, yeah. I think he's crap.
I agree.
Is he dumpster, though?
I think he's usable. I just don't think he's good in any way, if that makes sense. He's not like, normally when we put things in the dumpster, they've just got no value at all. I know I jokingly put the Tactical Marines in there, and yes, people are going to argue that you could have given them some value or whatever, but he does have value. It's just that he's outshone by basically all of the other options.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's not completely useless, I'll give you that.
Right. I just think he's the worst option to attach to your Death Company.
So he's in the C tier.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Bottom end of it, though.
Sure.
Bottom end. Okay, we'll remember that as we add more units to the C tier. Let's talk about the captain with jump pack next. He is the new Primaris one. He can have a Thunder Hammer. He can have a Power Fist, which is probably the best option. And he can have a Plasma Pistol, a Heavy Bolt Pistol, or a Hand Flamer. While he's leading a unit, if the unit does a charge move, you add 1 to the strength of the unit. So arguably, like, he could synergize with those assault intercessors we talked earlier to make them strength 5.
Yep.
And once per battle, you can use a stratagem that is a battle tactic for 0 CP. And as I'm always playing Gladius, the battle tactics for Gladius that are good from this is basically Armor of Contempt. So when you're selected, you can basically Armor of Contempt for free. You can also use Honor of the Chapter for free, which means when you make that charge move, you'll be able to get +1 to wound from Lance and +1 AP as well for free. So he's got... There isn't many ways to get CP in the Blood Angels Codex. It's like... There isn't really any ways. So these captains attaching and using free stratagems at key points in the battle is actually pretty darn valuable. So... Toughness 4, 5 wounds, obviously a 4-up in Van, and that 12-inch move.
Yeah. He can lead Assault Ints with Jump Pack, he can lead Vanguard Vets with Jump Pack, or he can lead Sanguard.
Correct, yes. And he's good with Sanguard because I guess he moves their strength up as well, and that's something that they're really lacking, is strength. And then I guess every single turn you could give them +1 AP and +1 to wound as well in Gladius, which again is something they're lacking. So that would basically return it to where it was last edition, where your Sanguinary Guard are like strength 6, 3 AP, right? That's good.
85 points. Yeah, he's solid.
I like him. I haven't made mine, but I like him. Did you guys buy him, or are you just doing a?
I've got so many jump captains.
I'm in the same boat. I've got loads of them kicking around. I didn't see the point in buying another one.
It's on the same size base already. It's a Space Marine with a jump pack. It's a captain. I see no need to buy the new one at all.
Yeah, I would arm him probably with a Power Fist personally, and probably a Plasma Pistol or a Hand Flamer, I guess.
Probably a Plasma Pistol personally.
Yeah.
Out of those. Yeah.
Cool.
He's all right.
So,
I mean,
I think
you're not going to join him to Vanguard Vets because they're awful. You could join him to Assault Intercessors, and 10 of those would be nice. Again, you do the combo already discussed with Sanguinary Priests and extra AP and whatnot, and they punch fairly hard. You could put him with an Apothecary and make him a little bit more resilient. You could put him with Sanguard, and they'd be reasonably tough and relatively punchy.
Do you know what? If Sanguard were reasonably costed, him plus the Sanguard would be really good, I feel like.
Yeah, that's the problem. They are still very expensive, aren't they?
They're very expensive when you compare them to the Chaplain of the Death Company, right? Because Sanguinary Guard are 175, this captain would be 85, so you're looking at like 260. Well, the Death Company will be better than them, and they're 205. So if the Sanguard were 50 points cheaper, then maybe this guy could be with a Sanguinary Guard, and we could be arguing for putting them at A or something.
Well, the Vanguard have extra OC because of their banner. They're harder to hit in melee because they're harder to be attacked in melee. You get -1 to hit in melee and -1 to be wounded in melee. So that's all nice and good. If you put them with a apothecary, could you put them with an apothecary as well? With a captain?
Sanguinary Guard can't attach to apothecary. So what you're asking?
No, they can't, can they?
Nope.
Not as well as the.
There's no way to attach. Sanguinary Priest won't attach to Sanguinary Guard for some dumb reason.
Yeah.
They didn't fix that.
Maybe to avoid this exact combo. He's good. He's solid, but again, he's not someone I'm like going out of my way to put in my list. Really?
Yeah, me neither.
I think he's rubbish.
Okay. Because
I'll tell you why. And it's a bit like when we were talking in the previous proper tier list. In of himself, he's fine. He's not that expensive. He does give the unit a free strat. He's got a little bit of punching power because he's got some reasonable attacks and stuff like that. But what's he for? I could put him in my assault, my flying intercessors if I wanted to, and then I've taken a very cheap unit that's a great action monkeys and made it a much more expensive and juicy target of a unit that's still not that good in combat. It's just a little bit better. So that seems like a bad move. I can put him with the Sanguinary Guard, who are wildly overcosted. And then I'm thinking, do you know what? I'm going to put all of my eggs in this basket that's not that good because melee units aren't particularly good in 10th edition. Or I can put him with the Vanguard Vets, who are equally not very good. So I just don't see what he's for. I mean, I'm sure there's some shenanigans you could do with giving him Lone Operative or something, and then you've got like the equivalent of Smash Captain.
But yeah, he doesn't carry enough attacks or enough
He doesn't
damage
cover enough attacks, really.
His whole Raison d'etre is to buff the unit that he's with. He's not like immensely powerful in himself.
Yeah, sorry, we can give him a shield to give him an extra wound. I missed that when I read out the profile for him. I guess what he will excel at is if they do bring Sanguinary Guard down 50 points, he could go into the A tier and attach to them. Then I think that's a very, very strong unit. Until they do that, I think he languishes somewhere in the bottom of B. He's fine.
Because I just don't see why you'd ever bring him. What scenario can you think of where you're thinking, right, I'm going to write my competitive army list and what I really need is a jump captain with some assault intercessors?
If I was doing that, I'd run him with 10 assault intercessors and either an apothecary or a sanguinary priest, and they'd hit hard and then they'd probably die.
Well, that's the thing; they do die, and
just
they're only hitting.
Just like everything else we have that hits hard and dies.
And they don't hit outrageously hard.
No, they're only hitting at strength 5 or strength 6 on the Sons of Sanguinary Detachment. So I feel like he's better. Like I feel like he's a lot better than Astorath. Like I do think he's better than that.
He's better than Astorath. But whereas Astorath is in the position where there's a good unit that you can go with, but there's always much better options for that, he's in a position where he's not a bad character, but he doesn't have good options to attach to. Until Sanguinary Guard get a huge points drop, I just can't see a reason to build this kind of Death Star of a unit out of assault intercessors with loads of character buffs and that in there, just for them to all get shot off and still not be that good.
You're predicating this on the basis that the assault intercessors are only in B because you can take them dirt cheap in a unit of 5 and 85 and use them as throwaway action. It's
not like in the previous video we were talking about Gabriel Seth, because you could stick him with a big unit of standard foot intercessors. Well, they're a bit cheaper and they've got the added benefit of the row wall ones to wound. To get that off the flying ones, you'd have to stick a lieutenant in there. Is there a flying lieutenant?
No, they removed that. It's gone.
So they don't hit as hard as the foot guys. They move a little bit quicker.
So the only thing to say then is I have to agree with Tony, because we've been through like the last 5 or 6 years now of Games Workshop struggling to balance Sanguinary Guard, because it's either the meta for Blood Angels is either take all the Sanguinary Guard or take none of them. And we're in a situation right now where it's take none of them, and every time they can't find the middle ground. It's either take all or take none. And I think that we're stuck with take none for now until we get Primaris Sanguinary Guard.
I have seen a couple of event-winning lists that have run Vanguard.
Like 5?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you could take him in 5. That's your literal
not
option.
huge events, like smaller events, but they pop up every now and then on. I think it's like 1 or 2 of them I've seen on Goonhammer.
But you're still, in my opinion, you're taking a much worse unit than the Death Company. So you can do that, I suppose, if you want. But it's
This isn't about Vanguard. This is about the captain with jump pack.
Yeah. And I don't think he's got enough to attach to make him worth bringing.
So he's a C. Unless you really want to put him in B, Mark.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. I'm good with that.
I feel really bad
arguing
because I actually really like that model. And I think he's a good character in of himself. He's just...
I don't. Every time I see that model, I think, no capes, darling.
Yeah, there is that.
I mean,
But
come
then I
on.
quite like
The
the
moment he fires his jump pack, he burns it off. What's the point?
It's a magical heat-proof one.
That's because it's a heat-proof cape, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Can you model him without the cape? No.
Can you not?
I mean, to be fair, the vents on these Primaris ones stick out a little bit
I've
more.
seen pictures of him without the cape.
I think people have had a go at it.
Okay. I'll tell you while we look at the next model. The next model is the chaplain with the jump pack, and it's the Blood Angels one. Do you know what? You could probably actually model him without the cape, because it looks like the cape attaches underneath his jump pack.
Snip it off.
Yeah, so the chaplain with a jump pack. The 85 points.
Yep.
+1 to wound.
Yep.
When he fights on a 4-up, he does D3 mortal wounds. On a 6, he does 3 mortal wounds every time he activates.
2 units. He can join Assault Intercessors with jump pack. Or he can join Vanguard Vet with jump pack.
Or
he can join
Death Company
as well. Yeah.
with jump pack.
Oh, that's missing off my matrix. Ooh, I need to add that.
I think this chaplain is probably my most favourite character in Codex Space Marines. I think it's an S.
He's one of my joint favourite characters. Whenever I look for a character to join a unit or take a character, the chaplain is one of my top picks right up there, because +1 to wound is just always the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
And it's so, like I said, it's so difficult to get CP in this edition.
Mortal wounds whenever he's selected to fight in melee. Yeah.
50% of the time he fights. So arguably, if he's in the combat like 4 or 5 times a game, you're probably going to end up doing mortal wounds 2 or 3
3 mortal
times.
wounds. Yeah, great. Cheers. He just does exactly what he's supposed to do. He buffs it. He's on a single focus. He'll make any given unit better at what that unit does.
And the additional bonus to Death Company of giving them some OC.
Yeah, and the ability to fall back if you really want to.
And the ability to fall back if you really want to.
But yeah.
Yeah, he's like the complete opposite of the previous guy, because he has got a unit that you can attach to and make it really good. Love him.
I wouldn't say he's S tier. There is one reason for that. I would absolutely put him in A tier, though.
Because melee is not very good in 10th edition.
That's it.
But
right there.
He's the best melee character I think that or best melee buffing character we have at the moment.
Yeah, hands down.
I would put him in S, but I'm happy to agree and put him in A. And the reason I like him in S is because you can have him with both the Crozius and the Power Fist. And the thing that I think is good about the Crozius and the Power Fist is, if you come into weak infantry, you get more attacks with the Crozius. You still have +1 to wounds, so probably against toughness 4 and 5, you still wound on 2s with extra attacks, still 2 damage, or you get less attacks with the Power Fist against those powerful damage enemies.
Which is great, but melee doesn't win games, and he's not a must-take in every single tournament placing Space Marine list you see.
Sure. I'm going to win a GT with 2 of them in my list, I bet you.
Cool, all right.
I'm going to try. I did pretty well with
what
one.
What are you going to put? Two units of Death Company then with him?
2 5-man Death Company, Infernal Pistols, Power Fist, 2 of him with the Crozius Power Fist. I think that's really, really good.
Okay.
215 points, I think that works out as each squad. But
yeah, see them hitting fairly hard. That'd be fairly tasty. I'd like that.
Sorry, 205. He's only 75 points, unless they put him up 10 points.
I think he's our best melee character at the moment. I do agree with Mark that melee is not optimal at the moment, but I definitely think having some melee is still very valuable.
Yeah, exactly. I think a little bit of melee and
A little bit of melee isn't hurting.
400 points in my Blood Angels
Little bit of
list.
melee in my life.
It's a bit like, do you remember in 9th edition, John, I used to say, I like to run 400 points of shooting in my list.
Correct, yes.
So it's like it's a complete reversal. Now you're running, 1,600 points of shooting and 400 points of melee.
So the Codex says he's 85 points, but I think Battlescribe, or I think
he's 75. Chaplain with jump pack is 75
they
points.
took him down. Yeah, 75.
I've
75
now got
points is an
point summary
absolute bargain.
in front of me for these characters to be able to help with. So go.
Okay, next up, Commander Dante at 120 points. He has a sustained plasma pistol with sustained hits D3. He has 6 wounds. He gives +1 to charge rolls. He gives +1 to hit.
Which is great.
He makes enemies within 6 take a battle shock at the start of the fight test with a -1 to that battle shock.
Which is alright.
I'll say it's shit, but okay, we can say it's alright. He can attach to Assault Intercessors, Sanguinary Guard, or Vanguard Veterans. And I don't really like him with any of those squads, to be totally honest with you. I like his +1 to charge, but I don't think that's worth what else he has. Some people said he's good because he can do a lot of damage himself. 8 attacks, strength 7, -3, 2 damage. I guess he's got -3 in lethal hits on the Axe Mortalis. I mean, they made the axe a bit better, right? Is that better than it was last edition? I feel like it is. Or maybe it's similar to last edition, where most things lost AP and stuff from last edition.
Yeah, it's better these days because it hasn't lost the AP. It's alright. I mean, as melee weapons go, it's pretty good. It's a definite marine killer.
Yeah, if you compare him to other chapter masters, though, I think he's lagging a fair bit behind for 120 points. I don't like him at all. I have bought the model, and I'm halfway through painting it, and I've just put it to the side because I've got no motivation to finish it, because I don't know who I run him with and who he's good with.
So he wants to get in the middle of a fight. Everything he does is to do with getting into the middle of a fight. He's fast, he hits hard in melee, he buffs the charge rolls for getting into a fight, he buffs the hit rolls for getting into a fight, he makes your enemy take battle shock tests when you're near him, which might make them harder to respond with their stratagems and whatnot, or maybe just make them unable to claim the objective that they're on, which is great, but not reliable. He wants to be in melee, but melee's not great. The things he can join are okay at melee, but not great.
I think
he's another one that if Sanguinary Guard took a huge points drop, then it'd be worth bringing. But as it stands, as of this recording, I don't think he's really worth. He doesn't have a good unit to attach to. He's in the same boat as that captain we looked at earlier, and in some ways he's in a worse boat because he doesn't bring the ability to have free strats either.
Well, exactly. That captain just does everything he does, but better, right? Like the captain gives you the whole
apart from
unit.
Sheer melee damage.
True.
Which Dante does bring a bit more of.
Dante kills more with his axe than the captain does with his fist or whatever.
Yeah, and I guess he's got 1 more wound and he kills more with his pistol.
Yeah.
Well, 6-inch range now. I wouldn't get too excited about that.
No. Sustained hits D3.
People get excited about the melter pistols on the Death Company doing that, but then again, that's 10 of them.
Yeah, and usually throughout a game, even with 5 Death Company with 5 pistols, you usually only get because back in the day, you'd be wounding pretty reliably with those melter pistols, and most of the time those melter pistols are wounding at 5s now. It's not that good.
It depends what you're shooting at.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you're trying to kill like a space marine, you'll kill them with the axe anyway. You know, the melter pistol's wasted at that point, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I'm just not really a fan of Dante at all. I'd probably be willing to put him somewhere next to Astorath.
I'll put him next to the jump captain.
You'll split them.
Yeah, I think he's equally as good as the jump captain, and I think both of them will take a jump up to B tier when Sanguinary Guard, if Sanguinary Guard take a points drop.
I just think if Sanguinary Guards did take the points drop, I'd take the jump captain over the Dante every day of the week.
I don't know that I would. +1 to hit would be quite nice on them.
+1 to charge is always nice.
+1 to charge is always nice. And yes, I know it costs you a point now, but being able to spend a CP on Red Rampage or whatever.
Sure, but I mean, I can do Red Rampage for free on my captain. I get an extra +1 strength for my captain, and then the other thing I get is you've got Oath of Moment anyway, right?
No. Something we're overlooking is that Vanguard are 2-up armor save though, which does make a difference.
Yeah.
2-up armor save, -1 to be hit in melee, -1 to wound in melee, being able to armor contempt them at the same time.
Yeah, I don't think melee's a problem though. I think they just get shot on objectives, but I mean, we'll get to
2-up armor save in cover with potential armor of contempt.
Well, we'll get to Sanguinary. Well,
yeah,
again,
we're talking about the units that can join them.
Sure. So, would you not want to armor of contempt every time for free with the captain? You know?
Yeah. That's kind of what made me think of this, to be honest.
So it's like the captain will keep the Sanguinary Guard alive better. He'll, it's just I don't know. I'd like to play Dante. I just don't know why I would spend 35 more points on what I think is objectively worse than what the captain's bringing. Like, for example, Azrael gives you 1 CP a turn. If Dante gave you 1 CP a turn, like Azrael, then maybe for the extra 35 points, I'd be like, yeah, sure, Dante's way better. But he doesn't. He gives a battle shock test. And honestly, the amount of time, like no one's really paying for interrupts. In 10th edition, there's very few interrupts in combat. I want to say interrupts in combat happen once every 4 or 5 games or something. Like in 9th edition, they happened all the time. They never happen. So no one's using interrupts in combat. So a battle shot before combat starts, what's that really doing? Like, even if they fail the battle shot every single time, what's it really doing for you? I would argue most of the time, nothing. Right? They're battle shocked. Well, they're just unbattle shock in their command phase and then get on with life.
Yeah. I didn't say it was game winning. I said it was nice.
Okay.
I'd rather have.
Right.
I'd rather have it than empty space on his.
Sure, I'd rather have what Azrael does is give the whole unit a 4-up, feel no pain, and 4-up infun. Yeah, great.
We know, but he's not Azrael. I don't know. I don't think he's very good because
I'd rather have roll a dice and on a 2-up I win the game.
I wouldn't. You'd only ever fight.
Are you telling me that I already failed that and lost my tournament ranking because of it?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, that's
great.
exactly why I'm saying that.
All right, next unit. Dante is in C tier, splitting this captain. If someone wants to make a comment why Dante is better than the captain, I'm happy to read it.
Higher, but it's really hard to justify. Like you said.
Number 6 on this list is Death Company Marines with jump packs.
I mean, they're either S or A straight away.
Well, they're the best unit that we've got. Every single model could take a thunder. Every single model can take a thunder hammer. Every single model should take a power fist and should take a hand flamer or an infernal pistol. That's how you should arm them. Yes.
Why a hand flamer? They're strength 3, mate.
Yeah, because if you run into 300 guardsman lists, you'll kill a lot of guardsmen.
Okay, all right. We're learning from pain here, are we? Fair enough.
Yes. Each time the model makes an attack, you can reroll hits. You obviously need to be within 12 inches of chaplain, or you have no C and you can't fall back. But you also get to reroll charges for this unit as well, innately, which is very strong. They've got 6-up feel no pain. I would actually argue their 3-up save plus a 6-up feel no pain is as good as the 2-up save that Sanguinary Guard have, because the amount of times you get hit by a 2 damage weapon, you fail the save, and then you roll 1/6, and they kind of waste a 2 damage weapon into your unit. That happens a lot. That's why people like Lemartes as well with the Death Company, because again, that all synergizes together. We'll come to Lemartes in a minute, but Death Company Marines with jump packs, for me, I think they're the best thing that Blood Angels have access to. I was running 1 in my tournament list, and I'm running 2. So I think, personally, I probably think the rest. They're the best thing that we can use. Like you said, inherently melee isn't very good this edition, so you could argue that they should just be an A because melee isn't very good.
That is the argument I want to make. Unfortunately, they will hit things and they will kill things and they will wipe things out and they will die, which is exactly what Death Company should do. But they also won't kill everything. You have to be very careful what you target with.
Yeah,
then again, if you give them Inferno pistols, they can plunk damage on most things from volume of fire. But
the way I'm running them is they're attached with a chaplain, so you hide behind terrain, you jump out of terrain, you shoot 5 infernal pistols with rerolls to hit, you make a charge, you get 19 power fist attacks. And this is in Gladius, by the way, 19 power fists with rerolls to hit. You have +1 to wound from the chaplain as well, so arguably you make the enemy take about 10 saves, -2 damage, and then, yes, inevitably, most of the time, the rest of the squad gets killed. Or most of the squad gets killed.
What do you think?
But 200 points for that much damage, I guess.
I think they're the best melee unit we have, hands down. I think they're a good contender for best melee unit that Space Marines have.
Probably second only to Sword Brethren for Black Templars, maybe.
Yeah, I think the speed that
I
they
like
have
the speed.
gives them the edge straight away. I'd put him in A, right next to the chaplain. Were melee more powerful in general, I'd agree with the argument for S, but ultimately, melee is only good against anything that's not a vehicle, really.
These guys can punch vehicles, though.
They can.
Yeah.
They wound any vehicle. With the chaplain in there, they'll wound any vehicle in the game on a 4-up.
Yep. Which is not bad.
2, so it's probably saving on 4s and 5s. So half of those are going to go through. So let's say we hit with all our attacks because of reasons. So that's 10 wounds going to go through. Half of those or a third of those are going to be saved. So you're looking at doing about 12 to 16 damage, I suppose, which is enough to kill a tank. As long as it's not too big a tank.
Yeah, they'll kill weaker armor. They can probably kill like a baby knight in one turn.
Okay. At which point they're a missile unit, and the thing that they're focused on should take a ton of damage and die.
Mm-hmm.
And then they die in retaliation.
Yeah. So they're A. There's not much else we can say about them. They're A.
Yeah, I can't really justify putting them any higher than that.
Is there a... I don't think you would see a successful Blood Angel list without Death Company, but the counter to that is you're not really seeing successful Blood Angel lists.
No, that's true. There is some.
Yeah, actually, no. I'm gonna use that mark and say no. That's why they go in S.
Yeah,
because you're not seeing a successful Blood Angels list that doesn't have them in, and that by your definition is this in every successful list? Yes. Well, then it's an S, then, isn't it? By that definition,
they are the best unit that we've got. So yes, they're the S.
I think they're the best unit we have. I think the Librarian Dreadnought's better, but
them being the best unit we have doesn't necessarily make them S quality. It just means we've got.
They make them S for Blood Angels, though.
Yeah, all right. For a Blood Angels list, okay, I'll agree that they're an S tier. You should probably be seeing them in a successful Blood Angels competitive list, or a competitive Blood Angels list.
All right, next up we've got Lemartes, who arguably synergizes with these guys pretty nicely. -1.
If we put in Death Company in there, should we go back and put Chaplain up there next to him?
Because you're not always seeing them with a Chaplain.
You're sometimes seeing them with Lemartes.
You're sometimes seeing them with Lemartes, or sometimes you're seeing them naked.
You do sometimes see them naked as well. I don't like them naked because OC0, but some people do it. Some people run them literally as the missile at 130 points and just said, fuck it, we don't want OC, we just want 130 points of killing power. Guess it's fine. Lemartes, sorry.
Maybe, okay.
So he has a Feel No Pain out with...
Because he is Black Raging, yep.
I was going to say, whereas a Chaplain needs to still be... If the Death Company are all dead, the Chaplain loses the Feel No Pain, whereas Lemartes always has the Feel No Pain.
The Chaplain never gets to Feel No Pain.
He does.
No, he doesn't. Does he?
Oh no, he doesn't because of course he gets the hits.
Yeah,
he gets to reroll the hits on the Death Company buff. Yes,
indeed.
Sorry. So while this model is leading unit, each time attack is allocated to the model, you subtract 1 from the damage characteristic. Excuse me. He obviously only leads Death Company with jump packs.
Yep.
And while he's leading them, you're getting lethal hits,
which is really good. It's comparable to +1 to wound.
Yeah, so in a weird way, the lethal hits that he gives here actually gives more value to a Gladius list than a Blood Angels list. Because Gladius cannot get lethal hits on the Death Company unless they have Lemartes with it. Gladius can get +1 to wound from Lance and can get +1 AP, but can't get lethal hits. Whereas lethal hits is given with Red Rampage. So arguably the Fury Unbound is a weird one, because I feel like most of the time you want Death Company to fight, you want +1 to wound, which means playing Red Rampage. So, I mean, technically based on all that, I should probably run Lemartes more in my Blood Angels list, but I don't.
I'll give it a go.
Could give it a go. I don't like 10-man jump units. I feel like they're too vulnerable.
For me, he's right next to the chaplain. He does the same thing the chaplain does for the same reasons in slightly different ways. Yeah, okay. It's a toss-up with which one you take.
Yeah. So it seems like
how many points does he cost? Sorry,
110. He's like 35 more than the
it's
chaplain.
35. I think the chaplain's better than.
Okay, yeah, that's a fair point. Well made.
Well,
Because he does a very similar thing, except that he also makes your Death Company a bit more durable. That's really going to pay out if you're going to run a 10-man unit.
Yeah.
We're not big fans of 10-man units to jump pack for because they're hard to hide, and that's quite a lot of points in a fairly vulnerable unit anyway. So yeah, I'd always run the chaplain for 30 points less.
Well, that's what I'm doing, but I don't run the 10-man. But I guess if you are a 10-man advocate, because some people are 10-man advocates, if you are a 10-man advocate, then I guess Lemartes is probably your choice.
If you're running 10, Lemartes is probably a better choice.
A 10-man unit of Death Company with Lemartes can kill pretty much anything.
Yeah.
But it's still a 350-ish point
35
unit,
points up for the extra durability and the slight loss. Well, you're not really losing that much. You're losing
a side grade for damage, isn't it?
You're losing a few mortal wounds and you're getting the -1 damage taken for 35 points. So, yeah, that's a fair trade. I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Okay, so he's right up there in A. Yeah, I mean, if you're successful Blood Angels lists are running Death Company, either Chaplain or Lemartes, it seems like. That is the way to do it if you want to be running melee units. I guess Tony's right, though. I wouldn't spend much more than 400, 500 points on that, because I feel like shooting is just in a much better position than the melee is this edition.
If you're running the 10-man Death Company and Lemartes, that's probably all of your melee in your army.
Let's say you've got a home objective and a building that can't be shot through for whatever reason. You're hiding 10 Death Company and Lemartes in it, ready to jump out 12 inches and then charge something. That can threaten anything that wants to move mid-board and be a problem.
Correct, yeah.
Or a chaplain.
Yeah. Just personally, I think that
I'd rather have 2 units. I'd rather have 2 units of Death Company with 2 chaplains than 1 big unit and Lemartes, even though 2 units would be slightly more expensive.
That's exactly what my list is at the moment, Tony, so I'm with you. Because I think you can react to threats in multiple places, and I think if one unit... Like, if the enemy really want to kill 10 toughness 4 Marines, they can do that.
Yeah, even with -1 damage.
Yeah, exactly. So, even like with the company heroes with -1 to wound. So I just think it's easier to hide 5-man units, and if one of them dies, it's not the end of the world. Whereas if you lose your 10-man Death Star unit, it kind of is the end of the world. Okay, next up, Sanguinary Guard. This will be an interesting talk, considering nobody is running them, or that one person ran 5.
They are, 175 points we said earlier?
Correct, so 45 points more than the Death Company.
Twice the price of 10... No, it's the same price as 10 Assault Intercessors. So twice the price of 5 Assault Intercessors, and plus a little bit more, which is fine. They're OC2 because you take the free upgrade that it gives them extra OC.
Sure.
Because why wouldn't you? Sure. Okay. -1 to be hit in melee. Okay, that's tasty. -1 to be wounded in melee when the Warlord's with them. Okay, that's cool. 2 up armor save is a very good Marine trait when you combine it with Armor of Contempt and sit them in cover. The melee's just not great. And having them Inferno Pistol's nice. I suppose if you really want to make use of their strength, they're resilient for infantry. They're fast and they're resilient and they can move through terrain. And they're at their most resilient when the Warlord is with them.
So why are people not taking them? Is it purely points?
Because they're not that resilient.
2 wounds for 170. Sorry, essentially 10 wounds for 175 points is a lot of points. The extra OC that they count as is good.
Yeah, you said 10 wounds for 175 points.
Yeah, because 5 dudes, 2 wounds each.
5 dudes at 2 wounds each.
So the company heroes for 95 points is 16 wounds and -1 to wound all the time.
And ultimately, something can move into line of sight and shoot them. And even at 2 up armor save with cover and armor of contempt, toughness 4, 2 wounds.
A lot of ways to
It's a
ignore
bit of a
cover
barrier
in
to
10th
kill them.
edition as well, right?
Sorry?
Like Votan. Every gun in the Votan list ignores cover because every single vehicle in the Votan has a searchlight. So, you know, like there's some armies that just completely ignore cover.
And when you've only got 2 wounds, devastating wounds become really devastating, for want of a better term. Because that's going to ignore your armor save completely, and you've only got 2 wounds to tank it, so you can't hull tank either. I don't think they're that durable. They are relatively fast.
I can see what they're trying to do, but the fact they're on a toughness 4, 2 wound body.
Yeah.
How would you fix them? You think
down.
dropping their points fixes them?
All right, let's say we bump them
half
up to 4 wounds.
Then
let's say, comparable to company heroes, they get buffed to 4 wounds.
175 points.
Yeah. What are you thinking then?
I still don't like them. I mean, I would probably run them at that.
Because they can't hit for shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've
got minimal offensive output.
I was going to say, you just sit them on an objective then, and try and hold objective with their OC2 and 4 wounds per model. I mean, I guess I can get on board with that.
And their 2 up armor save, if they're with a warlord,
I think if you've got, if they had 4 wounds each, then I would consider running them alongside a captain or even Dante.
Right.
And then really what they are is a really tough case to protect that character who's going to do the lion's share of the damage, but they're going to do a bit of damage as well because they're not that bad, you know. Strength 5, AP -2, 2 damage is not bad. Start playing Red Rampage on it, and it's going to be hitting quite hard. If you've got a captain in there, you can do that for free. If
they're a defensive unit and Dante is an offensive buffer, don't run Dante with them. Run the captain with them. Absolutely, straight away.
Well, I think I mean, in Gladius, with the captain, right, they would be strength 6. They could be AP 3 because of Honor of the Chapter, and they could be +1 to wound as well. So I think...
I can summarise. I don't think they're good, but I don't think they're useless either, so they're C.
I was going to say, we could debate them all day, how we could make them better. I just think they're too expensive and they don't hit hard enough and they're not survivable. They're too expensive, not survivable, don't hit hard. It's like 3 fucking problems with them.
If you solved any one of those problems, you'd have a unit on your hands. But with all 3 of those problems, you haven't. You know, because what are they now? They're at 40 points a model or something stupid, aren't they?
Yeah, close.
35, I think it was, or 30. They're 175, right? So 33 points per model.
Yeah. Make them 25 points a model and I'll take them.
Yeah, that's fair.
How many points is a Death Company Marine?
20, 26, 27.
So make them the same cost as that, and you lose a little bit of offensive output, but you gain a bit of better armor save.
Yeah.
An OC, I guess.
And a bit of OC.
Yeah.
Because you haven't got to babysit them with to give them OC.
With a captain or something, yeah.
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 But until without a change like that, I would put them firmly in the too expensive.
There's been rumours floating around about Primaris Sangard or Sangard rework for some time, at which point I expect we probably would see them as comparable to company heroes. But for now, with what they are, this is what they are.
Yeah, the weird thing is, do you remember when Sangard were like the only Marines that had 2 wounds, when all the other Marines had 1 wound, and then it was like all the Marines got 2 wounds, but for some reason Sangard stayed on 2. I think they've just really struggled to balance them.
We could wax nostalgic about Sangard for hours, and we wouldn't get anywhere. All
right, next up we're going to look at the Sanguinary Priest with jump back. So, there's a problem with the
stuff. He's really good. Well, he's not really good. He's pretty good.
Is he really? He still can't join
So-
Sanguinary Guard, which I think is
But
his biggest problem.
Well, Vanguard aren't offensive anyway, and he's an offensive buffing unit. So the fact he can't join Vanguard doesn't mean shit.
All right. So what are you going to put him with them up?
Yeah.
Probably nothing.
Well, that's the problem.
You can join.
I'd put him with a unit of 10 assault intercessors with a captain. That's probably all I'd do. Or a lieutenant. One
If
of
you
the
could
two.
put that
I'd
captain
put him on
with,
foot with a unit of 10 assault intercessors
yeah,
Yeah.
and save myself the points.
I don't think I'd run either of those in a competitive list.
No. He's
I don't.
because he's more expensive, is he? How many points is he?
Sanguinary Priest with a jump pack. God, nobody
90
knows how
points.
expensive he is because no one's run him. for a
90
while.
points. For a 5 up, feel no pain, and +1 AP in melee. You can join assault ints with jump packs and Vanguard vets with jump packs. So he gives Vanguard vets and jump packs a bit more AP.
I was going to say he's almost the best thing to put him with is actually probably the Vanguard vets.
Yeah, you can make a very resilient unit. Vanguard Vets or Storm Shield, Sanguinary Priest, maybe even a
5
captain
up,
there.
feel no pain.
You can get your Vanguard Veterans to be like Strength 7, -2, 1 damage, lots of attacks, 4 up in Van, 5 up feel no pain. You can make a durable,
Yeah.
jumpy unit.
Run him with the
Whether-
lieutenant as well for lethal hits on top.
Whether you think that's... You can't put the Lieutenant in there as well if you only
Why
ever
not?
attach 2 characters.
Why not?
'Cause
It says you can, mate. Scroll
It's-
down the data sheet a bit.
It says Captain, Chapter Master, or
Or
Lieutenant.
lieutenant has already been attached to it.
Sure, but the Lieutenant's one says, like, Chapter... Trust me, you can only attach 2. Where is it? You can attach this model to one above units, even if
two.
one
So,
captain...
Vanguard vets plus lieutenant plus sang priest is what I'm saying.
But the Lieutenant doesn't have a jump pack.
Oh no, he doesn't, does he? Sorry. Right, my bad. Ignore me.
So yeah,
Stupid game.
do you know what? If the Sanguinary Priest... Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you tell me where you put him. I think that...
Yeah, he
You think
fits
he's
straight
a
with the jump captain and Dante for exactly the same reasons.
Can I just be devil's advocate and say that the Sanguinary Priest actually fixes 2 of the problems that we just talked about for the Sanguinary Guard. He makes them survivable by giving them a 5 up feeling the pain. He makes them do damage by giving them 1 AP,
You can, but it's useless because you can't join him.
but you can't join them. Okay,
Yeah.
just say, I don't know why he can't join them.
Okay.
He's a fucking
Because-
Sanguinary... He's literally got the
because the
same
Sanguinary
keyword in
Guard-
his name.
Because the Sanguinary Guard are the bodyguards for the chapter master. That is why a priest can't join him.
Like, could last edition.
Yeah, but that's last edition.
Okay.
I don't know.
Alright, Vanguard Veterans...
GW make rules decisions like this for fluff reasons.
Vanguard
they don't do them all
Veterans...
for balance.
Vanguard Veterans with jump packs. Strength 5, AP -1, 1 damage melee.
Another candidate for these used to be so good.
They can have
And-
storm
and
shields
now
or infernal pistols.
So the strength for
plasma
these
resistance.
days is comparable to Vanguard in that they're fast, they're infantry, so they can move through ruins, and they've got storm shields. That's what they can do that nothing else can.
Yeah, and any time this unit ends a charge move until the end of the turn, it hits lethal hits. So lethal hits is built into these guys.
Oh, must have forgot that because I never read the data sheet very much after I ruled it out a while ago. So putting a priest with them isn't too bad.
Nope, and putting a captain with them is not too bad either.
Yeah,
So you,
but for the same reason we put Vanguard and the priest and the captain in the sea, we probably got to put them in there as well.
well, they're a bit cheaper, Vanguard Vets with
How many
jump
points
packs.
are they now?
I believe they're 115, was it? They changed the points. It's not accurate in the book that I've got here, unfortunately.
You mean you've come into this without being prepared and having the up-to-date points in front of you to reference and to hand?
Well, I should have just written over the books because the books are always wrong the second they're printed. But they are indeed
That's absolutely
105 points now. Sorry, they dropped 20. So 10 of them is 210.
So 20 points for storm shields over assault intercessors, basically.
And 1 more strength on their melee weapon.
Okay, which is not nothing.
And you'd obviously have to give up your heavy bolt pistol. For that, you would lose mortal wounds, but you'd get lethal hits.
Ultimately, they're still toughness 4 2-win models.
I think
Pretty
they
rude to
probably...
give them storm shields.
Sorry?
Aren't they? Is it? Are they the Storm Shield that give you an extra wound, or is it the Storm
No,
Shield?
the Storm Shield gives you a 4-up invuln.
Storm Shields only give you an extra wound if you already have an invuln.
Yeah.
If you don't, they give you the 4-up invuln.
I think I put them in B. I think they're probably next to the Assault Intercessors for me. They're just a different sort of unit. If you want durable, then they're durable, right? Like, we got no other jump units that can carry a Storm Shield. So there's no other way to get an
invuln save on a toughness 4 2-wound body doesn't make a lot of difference.
I mean, the thing about 4-ups, though, is you can spike 4-ups.
When you've got 3-up armor save and cover and armor of contempt, having a 4-up invuln doesn't make a lot of difference.
You can spike it. I mean, if you get shot by like a squad of multi-meltas, then that 4-up does make a difference, I guess.
Not sold.
I just know that I've pissed Andrew off before when he's shot like a whole squad of Retributors at them and I've rolled like 6 4-ups.
Oh yeah, sure, but you don't take a unit in your army because you're hoping to spike a 4-up armor save and that will win you the game. You take it because it's reliable at doing what you need it to do.
No. Well, I mean, Space Marines struggle at having invuln saves, so this is a fast-moving unit with invulns. I think there's... I don't think that's crap.
I think there is probably... there's an argument to run a big unit of these and stick the Sanguinary Priest in there. It's going to be quite expensive, but it's 4 Space Marines, a relatively fast, relatively durable unit.
Yeah, the fact you can put the priest in with them, you couldn't with the Vanguard makes a difference.
Is it B?
I think maybe. I don't think. Maybe top of C. I think. I don't know.
I think we see them in some people's lists, though, right?
I don't want to put them in B. If you're running the Assault Intercessors predicated on the basis that they're a cheap unit, 85 points, that are fast, then paying extra for the Vanguard and the 4-up invuln, I don't think you.
I don't think I'd ever do it. I can't see a scenario where I would run Vanguard veterans over something else, because the elephant in the room is we're not talking about the other units. So if I want a durable unit, I'm going to run Terminators or Gravis or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to run Vanguard vets because I can teleport one of those into the objective and sit on it anyway. If I want something cheap, I'm going to run Assault Flying Intercessors. If I want damage, I'm going to run Death Company. I can't see a scenario where I would choose those over another option in the Codex.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not running them, so you tell me where you both think C.
Yeah, I put them there. I just don't rate the value of a 4-up invuln at the moment.
I do, but just not on a 2-wound toughness 4 man.
With 3-up armor save and armor contempt. Or access to armor contempt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not running them, so I think C might be a tiny bit harsh, but I think it's fine. Top of C, bottom of B, somewhere like that is fine. All right, Captain with Phobos armor is number 11 on our list. I'm really not impressed with the Captain of Phobos armor this edition.
No,
I think he was good last edition. His sniper rifle's pretty rubbish now. I feel like he gets 1 shot, strength 4, -2 damage.
Is it bad enough? I literally cannot remember his stats.
So Rights of Battle, his stats are irrelevant. Rights of Battle is the free stratagem, which is the same as it's always been. It is a very good thing. He's 95 points, which is a touch on the pricey side. What he does that nothing else does, that is the reason to bring him, is he allows you to redeploy up to 3 Phobos units and or scouts.
Yay.
Which is pretty cool, because Phobos units are pretty cool.
I think it's good if you're running that Phobos detachment, maybe.
Yeah.
So you've got loads of Phobos to make benefit of it.
He's also useful in another chapter because Shrike is pretty tasty, and Shrike's a Phobos and confers the Phobos keyword on the unit that he's with, which is a pretty nice combo, but that's not Blood Angels related in the slightest. I just think that the things he can redeploy aren't of any real use to redeploy in a Blood Angels army.
I mean, we used to run loads of Incursors and things because they were pretty nifty in melee and
Yeah, they were cheap
whatnot,
throwaway and could
now
do
we're
a
not running
bunch.
them for that.
So I'll tell you the one thing that people
Scouts
have
can redeploy
done.
themselves anyway.
The one thing people have done with him is to use his rights of battle, attach him to like an Eliminator squad, right?
Yeah.
So then use Strike from the Shadows in the Vanguard detachment. So basically that means it's a battle tactics. You can use it every turn for free. What it means is if you're more than 12 inches away, you improve your ballistic skill by 1,
Yep.
you improve your AP by 1. So I guess like they could move their unit. They could move their unit of Eliminators every turn because it doesn't matter that they're not heavy anymore, and they would still hit on 2s, and they would get -4 from their Eliminator guns because he's improving the AP. So that's cool. Is that worth taking him?
95 points.
My thing is, though, I don't run Vanguard detachment. So I guess unless you're running Vanguard detachment, I think he's kind of dog shit.
I don't think he's useless, but I don't think he's good either. So for me, he's a C.
It's an interesting combo, but I think when you did the maths on it, you're putting a lot of work into making a unit of snipers do slightly more damage.
Yeah.
But they're not doing enough damage for that buff to be.
And if you want to run a captain, he's taking up your captain slot because only one captain per army can use rights of battle a turn. And I think we've got more interesting things to use rights of battle with in a Blood Angels army. So that knocks him down a peg as well, in my estimation.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, you want your snipers to stay still anyway because of their precision, to be completely honest. So is he worse just at the bottom of C here, or is he better than any of these other things?
I'd probably take Vanguard before I took him. Yeah.
Okay, that leads nicely on to Eliminators.
Okay.
If you haven't realised, we're into the Phobos section of the video now, guys. So I think we've covered all the jump units, and it will be Phobos from here on out.
Aye.
Eliminators can get 3 shots with their sniper rifles, or they can have 3 shots with las fusel. They still get the move, shoot, move if the sergeant gives up his sniper rifle for the bolt carbine. If they stand still, they get devastating wounds. They also get precision on the bolt sniper rifles. There are only 2 wounds, 2 wound marines, and they lost their camo cloaks. So they're a lot less survivable than they were before. I suppose they've got stealth, so they are -1 to hit.
I used to regularly take Eliminators in 9th edition, and I've not really once, apart from trying to see if I could make them fit in a list somewhere, found an excuse to run them in 10th ed.
Well, they used to get +2 to their save when they were in cover, which was very strong, and that's gone now. And then you're coming back to a very expensive unit, and they are just 2 wound marines.
Snipers these days, you want them to have a lone operative, really. And you can give him lone operative by joining a Phobos librarian, which gives them lone op, which is nice. But I also think there are more interesting things to give lone op to from a tactical standpoint than a unit that doesn't do an awful lot of damage and can be a bit mobile, but doesn't do a lot of damage, really. I don't think they're useless. I don't think they're good. I'd stick them right next to the Phobos captain.
I mean, I haven't running them at all, and I've been running lots of shooting stuff.
How many points were they again?
85.
75.
Oh, they dropped them,
75. So 25 points a man. He's got a reasonably good gun, but he only gets 1 shot.
Each time they remain stationary, they get dev wounds.
I mean, that part's not bad.
I don't think they're bad.
I mean, they've got 1 shot each. Dev wounds will not be relevant most of the time.
Every other turn, you should get a dev wound through, roughly.
And then you roll a 1 on your damage chart.
Maybe.
Might be okay in Iron Storm.
If it's a las fusel, yeah.
Stick him in Anvil, whatever that does. That gives him a bonus to being
Stationary. Yeah. No, I'm just not sold on him. I'd bung him in C next to the Phobos captain and move on. Not for Blood Angels.
I think that they're better than some of the other stuff on that list, to be honest. I think I'm going to take them before I took, say, Astorath. I think I'll probably take them before I took Dante.
I'd take them before I took Astorath, not before Vanguard or Dante, though.
Because they are 85 points, and they can do some redeployment shenanigans, which is quite useful.
I think if I've got 85 points to spend, I'm not spending it on Eliminators.
I'm generally going to take the flying assault intercessors.
Okay, yeah, I mean, they do have some good synergy with Anvil, you're actually right, because with Anvil, if they remain stationary, they would get +1 to wound.
But if you've got stationary snipers, then all a character needs to do go, rip. You're not shooting me. Anyway, we've covered that in another video somewhere, which we can link to potentially, where we've tier ranked listed the detachments. Was that a Grots video? Was that a BAC video? That was a Grots
video.
Yeah. Do we need to talk more about Eliminators, or shall we move on?
I think move on. I think we've covered them.
Okay, Incursors are up next. So the cool change to Incursors was they can now use their mine offensively, and when they shoot a unit, every other unit in your army gets +1 to hit against that unit afterwards, assuming you make a single hit.
Which is nice. You got like laser pointer gun things, mark lights. Yeah, okay. 85 points for 5. Yeah, all right. They can deploy anywhere. No, they can't deploy anywhere. They've got scout 6-inch movement, pre-game 6-inch movement. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, 24-inch there. So I mean, if you use your basically, you can hit just about anything. You get your scout move, you get another 6-inch move, then you hit 24. So you're lighting something up that's like 36 inches away. If you do make a charge roll on a 2+, you do D3 mortals or 2d3 mortals against vehicles. They're not too bad in melee in that they get sustained hits 1, but they have no AP. They're 85
they're
points.
Bad in melee.
They're not too bad. I mean, they're not worse than
AP is horrible.
Yeah, but they're not worse than a squad of regular intercessors. You don't take them really for... Well, I mean, factor in the fact that you'll do some mortal wounds probably that one turn of melee they're in, and then they're dead anyway.
Yeah. Ultimately, the question is, do you want to pay 85 points for them to shoot at something, for them to step out, shoot at something, and give the rest of your army +1 to hit on that one thing? I
think there's value in that for 85 points.
Yeah. I quite like these, to be honest. I quite like Incursors as troops choices go. I wish they had I wish they had a bit more OC, but I think giving +1 to hit means you can have a different target to your Oath of Moment target.
Correct.
And light up 2 things at a turn.
If they had a longer range than 24 inches, I would value the +1 to hit more. If they were 36, I'd do it. But for 24...
I'm not too bothered by that, because I'm going to run them forward with the scout move anyway. And 30 inches is enough to hit most things on the table.
And remember, their carbines are assault as well, so you can advance and shoot.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. Advance and shoot, step forward 6, ignore cover, as long as you're resigned to the fact they're going to die afterwards because you've just run them into the middle of the open to shoot something and mark light it.
Or you've run them into cover. You might have done that.
Yeah, okay, fine.
And if you're running Vanguard, then they've got a few things they can synergize with.
I ran them a few times.
Like Vanguard detachments.
I ran them a few times in my Gladius Blood Angels list. I thought they were fine. I just couldn't keep them in.
I struggled to justify 85 points for a +1 to hit once or twice a game, because after that they're dead.
But I mean, if the opponent are dead set on killing your Incursors, maybe that's a win, right? Like if they're not shooting
they're not that resilient.
No, you don't have to step out the whole squad. 2 guys can step out and 3 can remain behind obscuring cover, I guess, right? You only need to hit 1 time to get the +1. You know, like if you're gonna say like I'm gonna light up that Land Raider,
and there's
no advantage
in the Vanguard detachment the move after you've shot strategy.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You could also attack, like you were talking about lone op. You can make them lone op. You can attach somebody to them to make them lone op. I think
I can see they have value in them. I can see that both of you have value in them. I have never once considered taking them in the list.
I think they're playable. I think they're totally playable. If you're running a lot of shooting, then they just get more and more valuable.
That's fair enough. Tony?
No, I'm with John on this actually.
Okay.
I just wanna. Can you? No, sorry.
Wait,
I was
thinking.
trying to do something that you can't do because the rules say no.
Fair enough. Computer says no.
Well, no,
Could
I
you
was
s-
wondering if you could split fire and get the bonus on more than one unit, but you can't. It
You
says
split fire,
one.
but you only get the bonus on one unit, yeah.
Last thing to mention, because they're incursors, they have access to smoke screen. So if the opponent does want to go after them, smoke screen's not
Minus one
terrible.
hit. Yeah, okay, fair. We're stacking up
We're stacking up why they're good.
the
Okay.
amount of stratagems that you have to use on things to make them useful. And there's a lot of things you can use stratagems on to make stuff useful in the army, but you don't have a lot of CP, as we said once or twice.
True.
I think 85 points is a useful utility unit. The same as the assault intercessors, the same as I reckon the eliminators, but perhaps not so much.
I'm fine with B. I'm not going to contest B.
Yeah.
In this,
All right, infiltrators are number 14.
I will not run an army without a unit of infiltrators.
I've kind of gone off them, but I can see why they're good.
There are so many things now that can deep strike or deep strike within 9 inches that to bring them is such a useful tool in a competitive list that they are one of the first things I'll put in a list. Almost universally.
Yeah, I get you. The only thing I think with them is that you need to have if you're going to run them, you may as well run multiple of them, and I think that's what hangs me up.
Disagree. So I'll run them in a combo by choice with 5 of them and the Phobos Libby, so that you can't deep strike within 12 of them. You can't shoot them if you're outside of 12 of them. And because they're only 6 units, you can stretch them out. You don't need to worry about doubling up at the end or anything like that, because 6 is the limit for coherency. And if you stretch out 6 models and you've got a 12-inch bubble at each end of the thing, you can screen out a lot of territory.
Well, I'm not denying that. I just think that good players will then go for the area that's not screened out, and you'll benefit more from 2 of them.
If you need to screen that much territory, certainly, but I have found that 5 and a Phobos Libby will screen out everything I need to get screened out in my backfield.
Okay. Well, maybe you're better at placing infiltrators than I am.
You've also had more experience with more competitive games than I, so there we go.
They're good, though. They're good. The screening is very strong. They now have a 6-up Feel No Pain, which is also pretty useful.
What? 6-up Feel No Pain?
Mm-hmm.
Infiltrators. Oh, because of the gauntlet. Yeah, sorry. Absolutely.
I like
They're
them. I like them. I think the like Mark says, I really do rate the deep strike denial, because you generally don't have a lot of things that you absolutely don't want people deep striking within 9 inches of.
Sure.
So you can fairly reliably stick them off somewhere if you don't want people deep striking and take that objective, or I want to protect this tank from getting someone dropping down, because there's quite a lot of things that can drop down and do quite a lot of shooting damage now.
Inceptors are a strong pick for Marines and
Inceptors is a good example of that.
Yeah.
And being able to push them just outside of range for that sort of thing can be quite valuable. So I do rate them. I think they're quite strong. I don't run them in every list, but I have certainly run them.
They won't be game winners in every game that you play, but they'll be pretty crucial in enough games that I will take them.
There's a lot of unpleasant Eldar deep striking shenanigans, or Grey Knight teleporting around shenanigans,
or Gene Stealers,
or Gene Stealer cult
yeah,
shenanigans, where they're going to really be very valuable. So every game you play against Guard and you don't care about it, you're probably going to play against something that can be some annoying movement shenanigans, but it can be quite valuable.
And even if you reliably just screen out one corner of the board, then that's that one corner that your opponent isn't going to be able to get with their units in reserve when that one secondary mission turns up. Sorry, one secondary objective turns up.
Yeah.
Tell me where you want to put them, guys. You run them, I don't.
I'll put them in S without any hesitation.
No,
they're not an S for me, because I don't run them every time. I have run them. I think they're an A, but I don't think they. If I run them more than the chaplains, I'm just trying to think. I've run them more than the Lemartes, but I've definitely not run them more than I've run the chaplain. So that puts him somewhere in the middle for me, middle of A.
Okay,
John, you're
don't
never
run
running
them.
them, or you're just not interested?
I get that they're strong. I guess I've been running enough armor where like I kind of use the armor as my screening.
Yeah.
That'd be fair to say. So like people wouldn't be able to get to my death company because there'd be a land raider or a repulsor between the board edge and where they could get to. So because of that, I don't feel I need them.
Well, that's in a similar boat then to me, because that's why I'm not running them all the time. Because depending on the list I am running,
backfield units in general.
Yeah. Like I usually have my aggressors camped out in my backfield until I teleport them. So, I mean, if someone wants to come into the backfield 3 inches away, my aggressors will rip them a new one. So, but yeah, no, I get that there's a lot of strength in infiltrators. Against like chaos with the shadow of chaos shenanigans, that's probably where the most strength is.
So you were saying that the Libby Dread is one of our more powerful units for its teleporting ability. This screens that out as well.
Well,
yeah, but it only screens it out from one part of the map, I think is John's point on that. If you're using the Libby Dread like I do, which is to stick units on objectives, yeah, you can't do it to that objective.
It's cool. I've said my piece. I've got nothing further to add to it. I haven't already said.
Cool. Let's put them in A. I think they are strong. The Libby Dread argument you just made actually reinforces another reason why melee is bad. Because, like, if you use your infiltrators, for example, to screen something, then I'll just put my aggressors 12.1 inches away. They'll still be able to shoot something, whereas, like, you can't make a charge from 12.1 inches away,
but
right?
They won't if I'm running my infiltrators with my Phobos Libby. Oh, no. That only protects the unit that they're there.
That you're in,
everything that's underneath it. Sorry, ignore that. My bad.
Which is what I'm trying to say, which is like, if the layers of melee being bad just stack up so many times in this edition, it's ridiculous. Yes. Alright, Librarian in Phobos armor. I must admit, I haven't run him this edition.
No,
if he's leading a unit, he gives them a 4-up, feel no pain against psychic attacks. I feel like that's very niche. Like maybe playing T-Suns or Grey Knights.
That's not why you're taking. That's not.
That's helps, but while you're leading a unit, they have stealth. And they cannot be targeted by ranged attacks. This is what you're talking about. You could add this to a unit of infiltrators. You could add it to, I suppose, anything in the backfield or anything you just don't want to be shot. Yeah. What can he attach to, Mark?
He can attach to Eliminators, Incursors, Infiltrators, or Reavers. He can attach to Phobos stuff.
I see.
Bottom line.
And you think you're probably right then. It's probably best to attach him to...
isn't really useful because they want to be up close. Attaching it to Incursors, they want to step out and tag things, could be useful. Attaching it to Eliminators could be useful, but the damage output isn't great. Attaching him to Infiltrators is an amazing screen.
Yeah. Okay, so he does actually have a good few uses then. I think he probably needs to drop somewhere in between B and A then, because... I would personally I would attach him to my Incursors but obviously you would attach them to Infiltrators and they are A and B as well.
So I would always run Infiltrators. I would sometimes add a Phobos Libby to them, but not always. And because of that, I'd bump him down ever so slightly from where the Infiltrators are.
I've never run a Phobos Libby.
Okay, I've never run him either, but I agree that he could be useful here, so we'll put him just below the Incursors. Is that fine?
I think he can be useful, but I generally find that 70 points is not far off by me another squad of infiltrators or something.
No, I get that.
And I'd rather have a second squad. I'd pretty much, I could have the Infiltrators and the Incursors for the sake of you not being able to shoot my Infiltrators. And I'm not that bothered if you're shooting the Infiltrators because you're not shooting something that I care about.
So... I see your logic. I value them not being able to drop anywhere near him or shoot him. Therefore, you have a unit that can't be touched for a turn. They've got to move something in position to be able to strike, which I value.
Okay, excuse me. Number 16 then is the Lieutenant in Phobos armor. So I looked at this guy today. You can't actually buy him on his own. You only get him in the big Vanguard box.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
called Vanguard
in terms
Marines.
of physically buying the model, yeah, you're absolutely right.
He has infiltrators. He has scouts, 6 inches. He gives a model lethal hits. In your shooting phase after this unit is shot, if it's not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, it can make a normal move of up to D6. Might be cool for stepping a couple incursors out of a building, shooting, and then stepping back in, right?
Yeah,
That could be the play.
absolutely. It's unreliable because it's D6 inch move rather than a full 6 inches or a reliable distance. But as you say, you only need to step 1 model out, make the hit, or 2 models if you want to get a couple of dice out for Incursors and do it.
Yeah.
But at which point you're spending the 55 points for Lieutenant on top of the 85 points for the Incursors. Yeah, okay. I can see that being useful. Would I do it?
Probably not.
Probably not.
I wouldn't.
So is this guy crap?
He's not.
Can you...
Yeah, actually, no. Fuck it. He's crap. Because what's he for? You can make your very cheap unit that's got some useful things more expensive.
And a little bit less likely to die after you've
Ever
done
so
its
slightly,
using
but then that kind of defeats the object again. Or I can make my slightly rubbish unit have lethal hits, but then they're still rubbish unit. They've not got the firepower really. They've not got the volume of fire to make use of that. Yeah,
or any AP. Yeah,
or the AP. I can't see a scenario where I would find him useful.
Yeah,
I'm happy with him being there.
So is he actually the first dumpster?
No.
Just
leave him where he is.
He works, but
he has uses. They're just not great uses.
I just don't know why you would bother with it. You know, I'm cheap anyway. I don't like bringing characters to attach to units unless I'm going to get massive force multiplier out of it, and I'm not for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not going to add enough durability to be worth it. He's not going to add any killing power.
And how he buffs them are just crap.
Okay, what about Lieutenant in Reaver armor? He can only join Reavers. He's a scout move. He has the same lethal hits. While he is leading unit, increase the range of the unit's Terror Troops ability by 3 inches. I guess we have to read what Reaver's Terror Troops does. It probably just means take a battle shock at -1.
At -1.
So he's 55 points, so he's cheap. If you put him in the detachment that allows you to buff him up to a lone op, then okay, you could run him solo, which wouldn't really do very much because most of his buffs are the model that the unit that he's leading, which is Reavers, which are crap. No, he's crap.
Is he actually crap then? Sorry, I can't find the datasheet for Reavers. Maybe they forgot to put it in this book.
I've got it here, but
I was going to say no one's actually noticed.
Should we do Reavers and then come back to him?
Good idea.
Because where we place Reavers is going to dictate
what
where he
page
goes.
is the Reaver datasheet on?
I don't know.
Sorry, no, I'm using the card.
I'm on the app. They're 85 points, so they're the same points as Assault Intercessors, which can move 12. These guys can't move 12.
Yeah.
What they can do is they can deep strike. Or they can ignore vertical distance when they move, which would just ignore that because it's all right, but it's nothing with any relevance really.
Can they still do that?
Yeah, they can. They can still have a grapnel launcher.
That was really very useless, this edition.
Yeah, they're really rubbish. Their special ability, fearsome assault. At the start of the fight phase, each enemy unit within engagement range of 1 or more units with this ability must take a battle shock test. Brilliant. Terror Troops, -1 to it. But they've got 2 shit shots with a bolt gun.
Yeah, and combat knives, right?
You're not taking them for their offensive ability.
They've got a magic pistol that gets precision.
But AP0, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you've got a combat knife because what I really want is an extra attack.
A combat knife with precision as well.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
The knife is precision, the combat weapon is not. But yeah, fine. They can scout 6 and they can deep strike for 85 points is really the only 2 uses that these things have.
I would every time take Assault Intercessors with jump packs over them.
Yeah, which can also deep strike and can move 12. And have got better offensive output. Oh, fuck yeah, absolutely. Every single time.
This is when we need to rename the D tier to Why Games Workshop Why.
No, we rename the D tier.
That's been copyrighted by Art of War. Yeah, well, it's not been copyrighted.
This is the Reaver tier.
The Reaver tier.
So does the Reaver What needs to happen to make Reavers good?
They need to be able to punch worth a damn.
Yeah,
They need to be able to tear through something stronger than tissue paper.
yeah. Give them actual combat ability, and then they might be of some value.
Okay.
Or make Battle Shock worth using, because the Battle Shock in your own turn means that when the opponent's turn comes round, it stops working.
Yeah, it literally doesn't do anything. maybe their battle shock lasts longer. Maybe they have a stronger penalty to battle shock. Maybe their battle shock's got a wider area of effect.
Give them
their
like
terror
-3 to Battle Shock tests, and anybody who fails a Battle Shock test against them stays Battle Shock for 2 turns, or like through their turn as well.
It depends what you define their shtick is, but at the moment, what they do is flat out worse than the Salt.
Everything else.
So.
Okay, and if you attach that Reaver Lieutenant from a few minutes ago to give them lethal hits,
then okay, what they do is a tiny bit better, but is it worth 55 points? No.
Absolutely not. So put him in the Reaver tier with him.
If he was, I might take him if he was 10 points.
Yeah.
But I'm still not taking Reavers, so.
okay,
Put
finally,
him in the bin.
I think
He's
that
worse
these
than
guys,
Tactical Marines.
Yeah.
the new scouts. How do we feel about the new scouts? And I must admit, I am running the new scouts because the redeploy is kind of awesome.
They're great.
So, they are only OC1. They have a 4-up save. They have toughness 4. At the end of your opponent's turn, if the unit is more than 6 inches away from all enemy models, you can put them back in strategic reserve, which means you can bring them in on your turn, do an action. If no one basically engages with them, you lift them up, bring them in the next turn, do an action again. They have smoke screen as well. Don't know if everyone caught on to that. Smoke screen on new scouts, so that's useful.
Yeah, but I'm never going to spend a CP on it.
No,
Or
because
you're not.
if you're bringing them on to do an action, then go away again. You're bringing them
Because
on.
what I'm
where
bringing
your
them on
opponent
for is
can't
how
see
many
it.
points are they?
55.
That's why I'm bringing them.
They can have a sniper rifle and a missile launcher and shotguns and
Why
a
not?
chainsaw.
It's free.
Yeah.
So
For free.
and
Bring them.
they
Bring
can
them all.
infiltrate and they can scout as well.
Yeah. That's what I'm bringing them for. I'm bringing them to stick on things, do actions, be cheap.
I think they might be S.
Yeah, I think they probably are, because we're seeing them in
Every
so
list.
many competitive lists at the moment. For that reason, they're the cheapest, sort of solid, relatively quick with their redeployment shenanigans, action monkeys that we have.
Do you disagree, Mark?
No, I completely agree.
Are they
Alongside
better?
Infiltrators, they will be some of the first things that I will put in a competitive list that I write straight away.
Are they better than the Death Company with jump packs?
Yes.
Oof,
We're seeing them more
controversial.
often than Death Company with jetpacks at the moment.
Death Company with jump packs will kill things. Scouts will help you score objectives and score points.
Correct. And that's it then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does anything attach to scouts? Dumb question. I don't think so,
I
right?
want to attach them to
Phobos
Scouts.
Libby. No, he doesn't.
Oh,
He
really?
doesn't. Sorry, my apologies.
No,
No,
No one
the
can
only thing
attach to
that has synergy with Scouts is the Phobos Captain that allows you to redeploy them. My bad.
Okay.
So I want to run them as cheap as I can. I'm never going to spend CP unless I've got absolutely nothing else to spend on it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to run them around. And if they die, then brilliant, because you shot my 55-point unit of Scouts instead of my whatever other unit.
I will take a minimum of 1 unit in every army, probably 2, maybe, but probably not 3.
Oh, sugar, I've been doing myself out of 2 attacks with these scouts, because if they take the shotgun, they get 2 combat knife attacks.
There you go.
Okay. What a difference.
This may change, however, it's worth noting, if, as some people are theorising, GW changes the mission pack cards in the new year, or in 6 months' time, then if the missions change and the value that they bring from coming all over the place and doing actions goes away, their usefulness may well end. But for
And the
now,
same with the points, because
yeah,
a lot of people are expecting them to go up in the balance slate because they are so ubiquitous at the moment
yeah,
that there's a good chance they're going to go up in points. And if they go up in points, they'll very quickly stop being useful.
if they go up to 65, if they go up to 75,
No.
Yeah, 65 would be quite a lot even for them.
If they go up to
Okay.
60, yeah, all right, I'll still take them at 60.
But when they start getting closer to sort of Incursors, I'll probably take those instead.
Yeah, just nothing else has the same come off the board, come back on the board every turn for no sort of cost to the
That
scouts.
is the
right?
benefit. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
All right, it's now time for one of you two gorgeous people to plug the 3 Grots.
Don't watch
3 Grots
us.
is a channel.
We're awful. We make videos that nobody wants to watch. We
That's not
swear.
true.
We drink alcohol. It's the channel that your parents warned you about. Don't watch our crap.
I mean, you can make an argument that we're a terrible influence, and
There's
we do have a
disclaimer.
disclaimer that says you should ignore everything we say. But that's because we are awesome. No, it's a good channel. It's a bit more relaxed in this one. We don't have quite such a focus on competitive play. We look at things other than just Blood Angels, although we do look at Blood Angels as well, including other game systems sometimes. It's just a bit more relaxed and a bit more podcasty.
Yeah. We have been described as an hour and a half or 2 hours of delightful bollocks to listen to while you're painting stuff.
So yeah, if you want to join me and Tony every second week, we do have. Sorry, me, Tony, Mark's obviously there as well. Sorry, Mark.
Thanks a lot. Cheers. I love you.
You're an afterthought, Mark.
I was going to say it must be getting late. 11 o'clock is my limit. I don't have any brain cells left after 11 o'clock.
Actually, for a second. No. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you know when you don't get a paycheck and it's like, wow.
So, yes, every second Thursday, 3 Grots on YouTube. That's where you can catch us.
Yeah.
We'll be back with more tier lists. There's 2 more to do for Blood Angels. There's Vehicles and there's Gravis, which
there's Vehicles and there's everything else that we haven't already done. All lumped in together.
With Gravis Marines, and
that's got the best stuff in it.
It has, yeah. It's got some of the more fun stuff.
You're just saying that because the Thunderhawk gunship's in that one.
That is exactly why you say
exactly what I'm saying.
You will not deny it in the slightest.
My 2 favourite models in the display cabinet are my Thunderhawk gunship and my Astorath.
Okay, perfect. They're both in the D tier, or the D might actually stand for display cabinet.
Yeah, Tony's display cabinet because it's full of legends or useless junk.
Seems fair. I might have some more legends to offload on you, Tony, just so you're aware.
All right, thank you so much for watching this week, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll catch you sometime soon, I'm
Pleasure
sure.
as always, John, and everybody who watches
thanks for having us on.
Stuff.
This is where we started, and this is still the best fun.
Woo!
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.